Okay, family. Let me know if you can hear me. I want to welcome you. If this is your very first time to Ebenezer Elevates, where vision, inspiration, and direction meet, so that you can truly, truly have the life that you deserve. If you can hear me, if you can see me, let me know in the comments that you can. I can see the comments. I'm super excited for this stream, and you are in the right place, definitely at the right time. But after today, you're going to understand that you are with the right people today. And I am truly, truly excited. So light up the chat box, put 111s in the chat, put fire emojis, let the world, let Facebook know that what is about to take place is nothing other than a legacy conversation. There is a sense of pride and privilege. I feel when I come on these calls specifically for this, to be able to bring a whole sense of value and kind of interweave legacy into something of your life in this absolute moment. But before we go anywhere, I see the chat incredible. Just keep the engagement flowing. We are excited because the guest I've got on. But before I go there, let me just make sure. Let me just introduce myself. Let me introduce myself, as they say. My name is Ebenezer. I'm Olawale originally. Lived in London, born in London, but originally from Nigeria, West Africa. Shout out and my background, moving into engineering, delivering projects for one of the larger contractors in the world, and just delivering, just doing what we had to do. And then I found that there was a vision inside me that sat alongside my vision to create cities. It was the ability to impact people's lives. And that took me on a whole new journey. And I found myself in a space where I could not only empower people, but I could help them create new vision, new possibilities, new realities. And now we just run the play. People with vision, we empower them, we inspire them, and we give them new direction. Thanks to a network of individuals, some information that I applied, and now get to do that in the fullest capacity I'm currently able to. So there we go. So Ebenezer Elevates. You probably come on this stream invited by somebody, and what I recommend to you, if you are watching this on Facebook, I do recommend that you share this stream. We are about to bring a whole new level of value, a whole new level of increase, and to take you to a place through a story, an incredible story. We're going to take you to a whole new place. So I do recommend you do share this on your feed. Do a watch party if you know how, if you do know how, because what is about to take place is going to be fundamentally phenomenal. You like what I did there? So fantastic. So now we all know where we are. Again, hopefully you're sitting comfortable. I'm about to bring up the guest of honor, the guest of the session, the guest of legacy in this season. A lady we actually connected a number of years ago out in the US. I'm not from the US, for those who are thinking which state am I from? I'm definitely from the US. She is actually not living in the US, and I won't divulge too much. I'm going to bring up to you a lady who prides herself on diligence. She's super coachable, incredible to work with. She's a dancer. Catch this. She's a student of dance and a teacher of dance for many years in multiple capacities, in pro dance capacities. And she really has not just an ability to understand the concepts of dance, but her way and with people. She understands that life is true dance. And as you begin to navigate through it, you can leave legacy along the way. So without further ado, I'm going to bring up our guest of the session, Miss Dominique. Dominique, can you hear me okay?
I can hear you loud and clear. Can you hear me okay?
I am fantastic. I am blessed and highly favored. I mean, great to have you on the stream. Great to have you on the stream. I mean, introduce yourself for us before we begin.
Well, hi, everybody. My name is Dominique. But before I do that, I want to just thank you, Ebenezer, for having me. He alluded to it a little bit, saying that, we met a number of years ago in the United States. And it's quite funny or actually interesting, right? Because when I met Ebenezer, and if you've been following him, you know this already, right? He has this air of professionalism, and he's just on this other level when it comes to how he speaks and how he interacts with people. And so it's always an honor to be here. Ebenezer Elevates is really what is happening in this space, and so I'm always grateful to be here, guys. My name is Dominique Willis. I am born and raised in Bermuda. I know I don't sound like it, but I spent a lot of time in the States. And you know what? I am a mom, wife, a mom of three, wife, professional dancer, yes, working remotely like everyone else in this time. And, I'm just excited. I'm excited to talk about legacy. It's something that we've thought about for many years, so thank you for having us on.
No, we are excited. We are excited. Put some 777s in the chat and just light up the chat. Although you cannot tell, this isn't somebody who's constantly on lives like myself. I'm really stretching, because we realize that unless you stretch something in yourself, you can never live in something bigger than you've ever known. And I'll say that again. Unless you stretch something in yourself, you can never live in something bigger than what you have currently known. So definitely welcome. Do share this stream as we dive in to the content. So, I mean, this is the first thing I want to open up now that we know who you are. So you live in a place called Bermuda, right?
Yeah.
So I know you've had this multiple times. So as far as I'm aware, Bermuda is the place that when you fly over it, like everything disappears, like either you disappear or the you. Is that, how do you get in and out of a place that disappears on the map?
Listen, so yes, Bermuda, like the triangle, that's where we're from. And you know what's crazy is, like, we'll just be driving down the street and cars will just disappear and people will just disappear. And no, I'm totally kidding. But no, it is Bermuda like the triangle. There is some truth to that, but planes and boats and things don't fly through kind of that part of the map anymore. And not to get all sciencey on you guys, but we don't just disappear going down the street. We're relatively normal like everywhere else. So yeah.
Fantastic. So it's family in the physical world.
Okay. Yeah.
Now we've got the myths dispelled. Let's get to the truth. So tell us a bit about your background. I understand obviously dance is something that's quite big for you. Can you kind of take us a bit on that journey, how that started?
Yes, I can. So I started dancing. Like I said, I grew up here and I started dancing here as a student. And, it was just always something that I liked to do. I liked moving my body. I liked expressing myself. And over the years, that just developed into something that was so much bigger than myself. I'm not sure, if you're an artist on this and you're watching this feed at all, you probably can relate, right? Because being an artist, when I look at other artists doing things, I am, so in awe, because I understand the effort and energy and commitment and time that it takes to perfect that craft. And so, I went off to college. When I left Bermuda, I went to the States, and that's how I ended up in the States. I stayed after and pursued a degree in dance, got a job out of college, moved to North Carolina with my now husband. And it just had, this performing career that's now, I think, it's over a decade long, which has been quite a blessing. It doesn't happen like that for everybody. And it's quite an eclectic one, right? So started with modern dance, was kind of the area that I was working professionally at first, and then contemporary ballet. And, I won't get into all of the dance parts of this, but, various different disciplines in the modern dance realm. And now I'm working for a company that I can't share yet. New contract, but I'm excited, about it. We're working remotely. So in my living room, like everyone else. Throughout that process, though, dance has always given us dancers something that I think other, like I said, other artists and other people that are spending a long period of your life working on, giving us that discipline, right? And so that's always bubbled over into other areas of my life. And so I went into it, like everyone says, the starving artist kind of thing. I went into it not expecting a lot of money, not expecting a lot of praise, but just wanting to be able to affect, the audience that I was with, and to preserve the work and preserve the history. I feel like dance makers are the ones that really, transform or transgress one part of history into the next. We're very much responsible for preserving and for a lot of the movements that the world has gone through over time. So it's been great. I've transitioned into teaching, which I never thought I would do. Never thought I would do.
You must be good.
It was great. I just never thought I would. I was that person. I was like, I'm never going to teach little kids. And then you find yourself right there doing it. But I transitioned into teaching, and I taught in the school system. So yes, I was teaching dance, but I was still a school teacher, which meant that, they actually had to learn. It's not like you just go there and put on a YouTube video and jump around, which makes it a little bit harder. But I transitioned into teaching, and I've taught at every kind of level of school that you could be at. So at an art school where all the kids audition and, this is what they want a career. And I've taught all the way, everything in between, an IB school and a normal school and a low performing school and a low economic school and and the combination of them. So I've had quite a
Mm.
spectrum of students that I've worked with.
Amazing.
And that's actually kind of how I got, into our space.
Mm.
Money, I would say I had a little bit. Normally, traditionally, we don't have a lot of financial background
Mm.
before, we come into these places. But I had a little bit because I at least had some personal um, financial skills, like to keep myself out of debt, so I was able to not have debt going to college, and my husband and I made some really good investments at, 22 years old. And so that transitioned over 10 years, from our initial investments, which, you think you got to do like the whole property and, when you don't know what you're supposed to do, right? And
Come
you're
on
just
now.
like, I got to invest. So what is everyone else doing? That's what we did. But we
Mm.
made some really good decisions, in the last downturn of the economy. So I graduated the last downturn of the economy, right? Surprise. And everyone's like, what are you going to do? Aren't you getting a job? And I'm like, what job? There are no jobs. Um, and so, we made some good financial decisions over the years, and we were lucky or blessed enough to have mentors. And I don't even want to say lucky, because really it's all just alignment. And I definitely believe that, you're destined to do something. It's just a matter of figuring out what it is. And for
True.
someone like myself, and for anybody that's, watching this feed, when you
Mm.
focus on something for so long and you feel like that's your calling, like I'm destined to dance, I'm destined to be on these stages, and, and affect an
Mm.
audience in this way. Because that's what I loved. I loved having, 2, 3, 500 people to be able to
Come on.
affect the, what was their state of mind, right?
Mm.
And so when you feel like that, you a lot of times, I think, struggle when the transition comes into other areas, because you almost feel like you're leaving behind, this like piece of you, or this whole of you that you were, And
Mm.
so it's been interesting, because all of the skills that I learned through, my performing career, and even teaching when I was like, I would never do this, has really translated into my investing. And so it's put me in a space where I'm excited about it, all the time. I can see the correlation, which is really cool. And if you can't relate to
Mm.
that at all, like if you're a parent, you can relate to this, right? So a lot of times we have this dream and goal that we have always had, right? This thing that you're just like, I always want to do this. This is what I want to do. That's that mission that you have. And
Mm.
kids come along, or maybe not even kids, maybe the spouse comes along, and it's not that they do anything different. It's just that you now love this other thing so much that you feel like it's honorable to sacrifice, this other, thing that you had on this pedestal. And
Mm.
for me, I remember this advice, because we had kids young and I still had a performing career. And I would have other dancers be like, how are you doing this? Like, how do you balance the two? And I was like, well, and no matter what you're going to do, and this does not have to relate to dancing at all, if you're in life, right, and you're going through it, when you have this thing that's been this burning desire inside of you for so long, it's still destined to be a part of your life. So it's not
Mm.
like you love one thing less because now you have these new things in your life. So it's not like you love your one child less because you have a second one, right? So
Mm.
we don't sacrifice the first kid for the second one. We don't sacrifice the spouse for the first child. So why do we sacrifice the dreams and goals and desires we had before all of those things came into place? Because we feel
Wow.
like we have to. What
Wow.
what is that? And I challenge everyone to think about that, because we feel like, and maybe it's, just TV and society and, all of the mainstream media that makes us feel like it's honorable to sacrifice our whole life, just so that the next person can have more, so our kids can do better. But the whole point of the sacrifice is that when we leave, they're in a better position, right? And it doesn't mean that we're here and we love on them and they don't have to pay for college. Yes, that's one way of sacrificing, but if we don't really drastically make that change, somebody in the lineage has to be like, I'm going to do this no matter what it takes, because every single one of you after me is going to be set up a little bit further ahead. And when we do that, it puts our whole line of family after us in a much better position. And they
Let's
also
come
now
into
have
that.
the mindset to do it for the next. And
True.
so that's why I'm
Wow.
excited, right? Because we transitioned into investing kind of by happenstance. We're just like, well, we need a house. So we
Come
might as
on.
well get one that we can invest into. And
True. True.
then
True.
now being in this space, it's the same. Like I would struggle like, oh, well, I want to have a performing career, or people would be like, well, how are you doing both? Right. But there's this to me is who I am. It's been who I have been since I was, 10 years old, and it'll always be a part of who I am. And so, yes, I still
Dominique.
Yes.
I got something for you. So this is the beginning of the call. The amount of gems you just dropped. The amount of gems you just dropped. I said, wait, you better stop. I said, that's real good. So you just weaved us the journey, and that's that. I told you she was a dancer in words, in essence. We've just been weaved on a journey of vision through mission. Like the title, you think these titles are just cool. Like the titles are for a reason. It was her mission and vision that intertwined. And I caught this, like you're in a space where you said, let me set myself up, let me put some investments aside so that I can now pursue my vision. And then it just so happened that it was now required to now start to act in there. And then it's all about sacrifice. Do I still pursue my mission and my vision? Do I have to put aside my vision because I've got something else? And then you now came to a place and realizing I'm not sacrificing or choosing. I'm just going to become the person worthy of it all. I'm not going to sacrifice or choose. I'm just going to become the person worthy of it all. And I think you like not many other people can understand sacrifice, because I mean all we know is really the Hollywood type dancer. But anybody who knows dance understands that there is a level of sacrifice. But forget the timing, the rehearsals. Like I've been in some shows, not dance shows. I'm not a dancer. Disclaimer. I've just been in shows because musician lifestyle, and the amount of stuff. Like the amount of times we would have to do it over. And I'm like, look, we don't need to do it over because no one even knows how good it's supposed to look. I'm just being honest. But I know that level of diligence. So help us understand what sacrifice meant and taught on you were taught from the arena of dance.
Wow. So honestly, I think a lot of the sacrifice was taught more in parenthood than even in the arena of dance. So because I had been dancing for so long, so it didn't feel like a sacrifice. It felt like normal. I think to everyone else, if I explained it to you, you'd be like, you're insane. You just did a whole lot. But it just felt really normal. So I think I learned more of the lessons from, being a parent, because being up late or having your body hurt, I can tell you this. There was a period of time where I think I just was tired for years and I didn't realize, what I mean? Wow. And this was like going through, training as a dancer, but I didn't realize until after our first child. So maybe 2 years later. So it had to be about 6 years where I was like, wow, I was tired for the last 6 years, just because you're constantly, training your body and constantly, training your mind and on the go all the time. And people really don't understand that, like you said. But I would say that more of the lessons I learned as far as sacrifice came from, parenting. I'm so blessed. If you know me or don't know me, I have a wonderful husband who is always behind the scenes, kind of making sure a lot of this stuff is working for my benefit so that I can kind of, grow into having it all. But a lot of our biggest growth times were when he wasn't able to do that. So when he wasn't here. So we went through phases of being, normal people with regular, normal jobs. There was a point in time where he was driving trucks, and there was a point in time where he was on the road, and there was a point in time where during the pandemic, he's in the military here, so he was gone, for pandemic relief. And it's in those seasons, and I think it's important to share this, that I had to really buckle down and focus. Everyone's always like, oh, how do you do it all? And I'm like, listen, you have to just look at what you have, look at the time you have. There's 24 hours a day, so you can make it happen. So even with 3 kids, it takes a whole lot of organization, a whole lot of time management, which I definitely think comes from, some of that dance background, but a whole lot of organization, a whole lot of time management, determination, and a lot of pulling the strings. And no matter where you are in life, if you're, at a space where you're doing, the fast food, you have to be the best at it, because as fast and as precise that you can do that is how fast and precise you can do something else. And so those things to me became a challenge. I was like, well, let me get the coffee first, when I was doing all of that. And how many donuts can I put in a box, as quick as I can? And can I remember the customers? And so those things came hand in hand. I think it's just all of life, you're taking the lessons from every part of life. and putting into what's happening now. And I think the biggest lesson for me has just come from living life. But you know what, that the book Rich Dad Poor Dad has been kind of an eye opener, but not because I didn't understand the concepts, but because I was like, this is what I'm doing, right? You know, we spend a lot of time at work because we want to, you know, we want to just kind of make money and have a good life. But when you spend time there getting better at what you're doing, you could hate it or love it. You know, I liked making the coffees all fast, right? Some people didn't. But the point is, like I said, when I'm spending my time there learning how to do that, if you can change your mindset, if you're in that season to, you know, how can I get really good at this so I can take the skill somewhere else?
Whoa, hold on. How can I get really good at this skill so that I can take that somewhere else? I'm not currently fully in the space where I need to be. I'm believing for something greater than I currently see. But how can I take these skills and apply that? I think it's so easy to become despondent in my situation and say, look, you know, I'm the only one going through this. But truly, I want to be the only one going through this, because that story is going to be powerful. I use my non-transferable skills, transferred them, and then started to be able to build. Just light up the chat box if you appreciate that mindset. That's a winner's mindset. That's a growth mindset. Nothing is in my way. It's just on my way to greatness. Come on now. So I appreciate you breaking that down and understand that you chose to take that. And I don't know where. It must have been a process. I don't know if that just happens overnight, where you start thinking in creative positivity.
No, I definitely think it's a process. You know, I think that the easiest thing, obviously, is if you can go in with a positive attitude. And I'm saying, y'all, I'm talking to myself, okay? I'm saying that because, you know, I didn't definitely not get to this space. I love what I do. I love dancing. I'm sure you can tell that I love teaching students. But what really propelled us into, you know, our space is, and into this group where we get to work with Ebenezer so closely, is because where I was at, when I say I really did not like the H word, like I really hated everything about where I was at that point. And so I could have go back on my life, right? And I could go, okay, I was, you know, doing this and grabbing the skills and doing all these things to stack it up. And then all of a sudden you look up and you're like, how did I get here? And I think that happens to a lot of people, right? So I got to a really bad, you know, teaching situation, just where I was working, you know, just who I was working for at the time. It was not a good fit. And it was not a good fit just because I had elevated so much over the years through the process of, you know, with my mentors. And, you know, I didn't even realize until I got to that point, I just needed to be there. You know, God needed me to be there. And so I'd elevated so much that I realized very plainly that my values and my beliefs did not align with the place that I was working, and they were never going to, but I had to do it. And I think that's sometimes what happens, because we have this pressure, you know, as a wife and a mom, and, you know, you have this pressure on yourself to continue to produce and to continue to make sure everybody's okay. But knowing that you don't align, I think that's like, to me, the biggest, like, wipe the dust out of your eyes. You should not be in that space. But then having to feel like you have to, that's like a whole nother animal on top of it. And so that's how we ended up. We're in Bermuda now. That's how we ended up back here, because I had known that and wanted to just peace out. I was the type of person that took everything into my own hands without like trusting God. And so that was a season that I was in where I really had to just say, okay, I'm obeying. I was in the season of being patient and obeying. And that was a great lesson to learn. It sucked. Okay. So some of your lessons that you're in right now might suck. It sucked. But I knew that if I could just continue to obey and to be patient and stay in it, even though it wasn't so great, that I would get to the other side. But it did overtake me a little bit, because I mean, you know this about me too, but like, you know, I have this, you know, positive kind of jovial, you know, attitude and spirit, and to be so taken away from, you have to be careful how long you stay in these places, because it can really you know, rip off some of the things that make you who you are. And I had started to become a little bit toxic, you know, at home, and trying my hardest to be as great as I could to other people's kids, and it not doing so well at my house. So my husband was like, we're moving. Like, you need to change pace.
To catch this, you've done it again. So the alignment, being aware of alignment. So I can be in a scenario and say, okay, I'm just going to get my skills, but there sometimes comes a time when the awareness of your alignment has to be checked, and to say, look, this isn't a now issue. This is like, we're never going to move in the same direction. So then if I remain where I am and we're never in alignment, then I'm going to be living in discord for an unknown. And we're more valuable than that. Come on now. So it's okay to address, okay, this isn't my space, but I'm going to get the skills. But it's also okay to say, you know what, at the end of the day, this alignment, you know what I mean? I may have to find my alignment elsewhere geographically in the space that I am. And that's completely okay. But you started drilling down my family. Well, ultimately, if I can't do this, then any alignment is going to be realigned, because my true core values, my mission, and my vision have to be aligned. So I respect you and I commend you for that. So I wonder if you were with me. Something that came up a little bit earlier. You said about the investment, and you decided to be diligent with investment, and it allowed you to make the decisions. Can you kind of share some of that wisdom with someone who's either looking at investment or seeing opportunities, or just sick or tired of hearing the word investment and not knowing what it means? How do you prepare your space and yourself for a lifestyle of investing?
Yeah, I can definitely do that. So I think for every person that may be feeling like that, honestly, the key is just to start, right? Because once you start, it unlocks all the doors.
So
we had no clue. Like, we didn't know what we were doing. I don't think anybody does. Honestly, anyone that is in my community, in my space, nobody was talking to me about investment. I have one friend about 5 years ago that was like, hey, you know, I'm investing, I'm doing this, that, and the other. And I was like, what are you doing? And I just trusted my friend. I had no clue. I was like, here's the money. Let's do it. Because all I knew is that there is money out here. There is a way to invest. How to do it, I don't know. Where to do it, I don't know. But my friend said, do it, we're doing it. And so that's how we first got introduced. I mean, mind you, like, we did, you know, start with the whole property thing just because we also needed a house too. So it kind of worked out. It was like a dual investment. But that's how we really got into space. And you really just have to start. You don't know if you have a friend or if you have a family member or someone who is talking to you about investments, you're so beyond blessed. You need to, you know, really thank them. My family never talked to me particularly about, you know, taking investments, but I did get to hear them talk, you know, the rich uncles, right? Talk to each other at Christmas or whatever about investing. And they would talk to my older brother, right? And I would just be sitting there listening, like, why is they talking to me? I want to know. You know, I don't make money. I was a nosy little sister. And so that's all I knew, that there was money to be made. I knew my family kind of sort of did it. I think, you know, even before you go into investing too, or even actually hand in hand in tandem, you really should also look at just your personal finances, which is one skill I was lucky enough to obtain growing up. So I did come out of college with no debt, but I also knew at an early age that I was going to do whatever it took to not put an additional financial burden on my family, because I could see that they worked hard, right? I think we all can see that. And so I made sure that I honestly feel like I was being myself, but I always knew that, you know, I wanted to go to private school at a certain age and got into all of them, you know, with scholarships. And my mom's like, all right. And I'm like, no, I'll stay. You know what I mean? Because there's no difference. I can still be extremely great, you know, wherever I am, as long as it doesn't put you in a position that you don't need to be in, because you've already sacrificed a lot of your life for me now. And so that put me in a spot when I came out to be able to, you know, not sit here with this extra strap on me, this extra like weight pulling me to the bottom of the ocean. And so I could make a decision like, you know, purchasing a house. I also was the type of person that, and you should, if you're in college and you're looking at this and you have these senators and people that visit your college campuses, you should be listening to those people. I don't remember who said it. I don't know if it was a professor or whatever, but someone said something about credit in the United States. And I said, Mom, get me some credit cards. You use them, because when I leave here, I need to be able to do whatever credit does. I didn't even know what credit did, but I was like, I need to be able to do what credit does.
You need some of that credit stuff. So Kat, I like your diligence, because one, you paid attention, and secondly, you were open. You said I didn't get all of the stuff from my personal setup at home. I had some uncles, but when I heard somebody who was in the space, I knew that it was possible to create something. So I said, show me something. Just show anything that you tell me is more than I know. So even if you tell me one thing, that one thing can catapult me to a whole new level. And I just want to appreciate you, because that's an interesting place to be able to say, I'm just show me the way. And again, like, we are in the information age, right? This is the land of infinite possibility, where the internet, we're on Facebook. Right. I think the string speaks for itself, right? We're now in a space where access is increased, like just by having access to this information, to streams like this, to people like yourself. People can now be able to take that step one, and evidently step one is actually just a hinge to the next level and the next level.
Yeah, you just access. That's it. You said it. Access is increased. Ask a question. Open your. I think we always want to be, we're always afraid to get help, but the only way that you get ahead is with help. So open your mouth and ask questions, and and if the wrong person responds, or if you get a negative kind of response, it's not who you're designed to work with. So let it be. If you feel like you've tried it before, you tried to do an investment in the stock market or whatever it might have been, and it didn't work, well, maybe that's just not when you were supposed to do it. I feel like you just have to keep trying. I'll say this one thing that I've always done is bet on myself. So if anybody could figure it out, it was going to be me. I don't care what it takes. And so I want everybody to be encouraged, because I know when you're in these very dark situations, sometimes believing in yourself to get you out, or to be able to be somewhere else, can be really difficult. But if you always just bet on yourself, because you can do it and you're designed to do it. We are not designed to be like slaving away. We're not designed to be uncomfortable, or, overtly tired or angry. Those things come. We're designed for a life of abundance and happiness. And when you can't bet on yourself, you got to get connected to something else that you can bet on, that you can believe in, to get you through the stage. I could have totally gotten myself and my family out of the situation I was in at my work before I left. I could have absolutely done it, and I would have done it. And I used to always do it. But like we were saying before, it's the alignment piece of it. I knew, as terrible as it was, that I was supposed to learn something. And I think what I was supposed to learn at the time, like I said, was obedience and patience. And that has translated into, what I'm doing now, investing, like no other, because I didn't realize. I learned a lot at that point, but I didn't realize until I really came into the space to start taking on, investments for myself, how impatient I was and how disobedient I am to my own rules, and so it set me up to be like, okay, but if I had come in before, I probably would have been so much further from the starting line to even get into this space. And I feel like it took me a long time. Everyone after me is so much quicker. I always say it's because I'm smart, and smart people always try to think that there's a quicker, more efficient, better way to do it.
Just follow the plan. Come on.
Right. Just follow the rules. And so, I want everyone to just believe in yourself, because you have to bet on yourself. And if you do, you got to find it. And don't feel like you are, as long as you're giving, it's okay to receive. I think sometimes we can be talking to people, and they just give us so much life and so much energy and so much power, and we're like, yes, yes, yes. And then you feel like, because you're just receiving, that like maybe your karma's off, or whatever. But there are going to be moments in your life, like anything else, where you might need 6 months of receiving to fill up whatever's missing. Everyone comes in at a different place. So, I might need to be full from my shoulders to the crown of my head. Someone else might need this filling up from the tips of their toes all the way up. And you have to be okay with, when you can't do it for yourself, to go find where you need to be. Celebrated.
This girl. I'm just gonna have to jump in. You are truly in full flow. If you cannot do it for yourself, before we even go there, you said if I need to know that it's okay to be sad. As long as I'm bringing some value to a table, then I deserve to eat from it. And then there may be a season more of eating, and then maybe a season when I'm serving, and it's okay if there isn't that level of balance. Because for my season, I may just need to receive, and I need to know that I can just go to receive it. My friends, my family, my community, I implore each of us to search for places where we can eat, for places we can serve, and places that if we need something, we can go with our head held high. I said, I'm in a season, I just need some stuff. And I promise you, when I'm stronger, when I've got my fighting spirit back, I'm gonna bring everything to the table that in tenfold of what it is that I shared. But it's okay. And please do not let anybody tell you otherwise. I mean, wow, just one final piece. So in investing, we've spoken about a few things. I know one of the areas that you're looking at the moment is trading, is Forex. And again, this was a new space to you. I guess just a brief question on that. What is it that you like so much about it? Like, what is it that made this a place that you kind of wanted to plant a bit of a flag?
So yeah, it was absolutely new to me. All I knew is when I left Bermuda, my money changed to another currency. I knew nothing about the market at all. So if you know nothing, you know just as much as all the rest of us. When we came in, I knew that there was money to be made. Like I said, I trusted a friend and was like, let's do it. He was like, I don't know what I'm doing. I'm like, cool. I don't either. We'll do it together. But I think what I like about it the most, it's funny because it's almost like a complex, because I had been in such a space of like out of control, where I had no say over what happened in my life, and I had to live through that.
You're about to drop something. Go on.
But it's so real. I had to, I like it because I'm in full and complete control. And I don't like at this place doing it for myself. Nobody controls my money. Nobody controls how much is in there. No one controls how much comes out. No one controls how much a trade is for me. No one controls how much I risk, how much I, gain. Nothing. No one controls when I get my money. No one controls when I put it in. No one controls when it's 24 hours a day. So for me, I just wanted the control. And I was like I said, I bet on myself. So if I can figure this out, that means I have full control. No one controls my time. So no one's going to tell me that you have to do it at this time of day. And, none of that. We had paid someone to do it for us previously. I didn't know what they were doing. I just seen a little bit of money come in. I was like, okay, this works. There's money. But I had no control. And I think a lot of people that I talk to now, we kind of do two things, right? We either have an investment account, at a young age, or we have a house and a family. Depends on how your life is set up. Like either you meet that spouse and you're like, oh, let's get a house because that's your investment. Or you go and like, let me create an account for my retirement. And a lot of people, we do this because it's the only thing. It's the most natural thing right now. It's the way that we know traditionally to invest. But a lot of people that I talk to are in situations where they still have absolutely no control. They have a contract for how long their money's in there, 10, 20, 15, 20, 25 years. They have a contract for how much they have to contribute every single month. They have they cannot take their money out whenever they want to. So Lord forbid you have a car accident or you're still in the exact same position. To me, I was like, that's not helping me at all. I need full and utter control. And so I love being in, all of the money markets, honestly, because Dominique's in control. If Dominique doesn't make money today, that's on Dominique. It's not on, I can't blame, the firm. That's nothing to do with anyone else. If Dominique doesn't learn the skill, if you don't learn the skill, you can't blame anyone but yourself. Once you have it, it's in your brain. Nobody can take it back out.
Let's go.
Why would it? I'm like, I tell everyone, this is the only skill set that you need to learn. Period. You don't need to know anything else if you want to control your life. Unless, whatever you like to do, you might love your job and, work with animals all day and you want to pet them. But guess what? If you have the skill set, you can build a farm. You can create a bunny farm and just, have bunnies all around you all day. So I just love that I have full and complete control over everything, in this space. And I control who I spend my time with.
Huge. I could feel that one coming. So what I just got from that was, not only is it your responsibility to take control of it, but it's also, once you have the control, now it is in your control. So you decide, I'm going to take control, and then once I've taken it, once I've taken that control, now I can do what I will with it. And from what I'm hearing, I can take control in any capacity, even if it's just to learn something. When you started, it was, can I learn something? And then you started to evolve. And you said, all of the money market. I said, this lady ain't playing. But you realized that one gateway show me allowed you to now see a whole new reality. So, I mean, this conversation, I'm gonna have to rewatch this myself. I'm gonna have to rewatch this myself. So I just want to thank you for taking the time out and to be on this stream, really, really, truly, because your journey, your story is powerful. And again, there's more to it. I know the fact that you've decided to show people the way from your own journey, to say, look, I made some mistakes, I made some lessons, and now we're moving forward and we're about to turn it up. And I commend you for that. But most importantly, I commend you for your vision and your mission, and for choosing to combine the two, so that you could be in the space that you deserve to be, which is increase. So huge. If you caught value, put some emojis, light up the chat box. I just want to shout out to Bermuda, the place that doesn't disappear on the internet. This thing is here to stay. Again, do share this, do save this in your feed. And I want to say this on behalf of the legacy conversation. Truly, I tell you, you were created for nothing less than a legacy-filled life. And that begins with a decision to move forward with clarity, and the actuality, the action that comes with saying, okay, if I'm going to bet on myself, as the lady says, if I'm going to bet on myself, no one else is going to bet against me. Okay. So that is our time. That is our time. I want to thank you for taking the time out to be on the stream. If you caught value, if you're interested, if you're in that space where you're like, I'm in a space where I want to know a little bit more, then reach out to the person who invite you to the stream, and just let them know that I am excited, that there is something going on that is incredible, and I want to play a part, even if it's small, because my control and my life is in my hands. Thank you so much, Dominique. I appreciate your life. I appreciate your time. And again, be blessed, and be a blessing. Bye for now. Final words.
Thank you, Ebenezer. We love you. You know that. I'm super excited that you're, really building this Ebenezer Elevates.
Let's
Y'all,
go.
you're
Let's
amazing.
go. Let's go from Bermuda to London. Let's get it. Peace and increase, family. Have a great, great day, and we'll see you on the other side of increase.